What's going on, y'all? Back with another reaction video today. We got the rise, fall, and return of Geno Smith. This is by Swag Ranger Football. I'm expecting an interesting video. It's not often that we see quarterbacks have a resurgence in their career. Ryan Tannehill had one, but things are going downhill at this point. I don't know if it's just him or they just feel like it's time for a change. If it's organizational or if it's on him, I don't know if it's a 50-50 thing or who do you mainly put blame on there? I don't know. But yeah, man, like I said, it should be an interesting video. Looking forward to see how things turn out with Geno this year. I would expect them to draft a quarterback next year. If they don't, that would be interesting, but I think it's expected. But it depends on how well he continues to play. He's playing very good. I give him that, very, very good. It depends on how well he continues to play and how long this lasts. But let's get to it.
Year-old backup quarterback with a pretty bad history as a starter has this big of a resurgence this late in his career. Usually these types of quarterbacks who were drafted pretty high but didn't pan out the right way are out of the league in a few years or ride out the rest of their career as a backup quarterback. But after the Russell Wilson trade in March, Geno Smith got his opportunity to start for the Seattle Seahawks, and he's in the MVP race.
Yo, YBH.
What's up, guys? It's Ant here, and in this video I just want to recap Geno Smith's career because with the way he's been playing recently, I just don't think anyone knows what to think of him. It all started in 2009 when Geno Smith committed to the University of West Virginia, and I guess we can call this part of the video the rise of Geno Smith.
So Geno played with Tavon Austin,
and his sophomore year is where he saw his first full season as a starter.
They had
2,760.
What's that? They had Kevin White too, huh? If I'm not mistaken, a receiver. Texas in the playoff race.
3 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Geno Smith led West Virginia to a 9-4 record, and in their last game against Rutgers, he threw for a career-high 352 passing yards. He didn't have great numbers this season, but he didn't throw a lot of interceptions, and he was still adapting to the offense.
That's a nice receiver.
Seasons are where he really took off. Geno Smith was a monster in his last 2 years as a Mountaineer. In his junior year, he threw for 4,385 yards, 31 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions again. He led West Virginia to a 10-3 record, and in the Orange Bowl, he beat the Clemson Tigers with a score of 70-33. In this game, Geno Smith tied a record for any bowl game with 6 touchdown passes. He also beat Tom Brady's record of throwing for 407 passing yards in the Orange Bowl. He had his best season in his senior year, and he threw for 4,205 passing yards with 42 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. West Virginia finished with a 7-6 record, but that was because it was their first season playing in the Big 12 instead of the Big East. Geno Smith and the Mountaineers were on fire to start the season, and they were even ranked number 5 in the conference at one point. But they ended up going on a pretty big losing streak.
Sheesh, oh my gosh. This dude look like a different Geno. But I mean he's a lot older now at this point, but still man.
And that's how
you see the athleticism was way better. Throwing power was there too as well.
7-6 record. Even though they didn't really
he could throw now, but it definitely looks like he had more zip on the ball here.
Smith still managed to put up close to 39 points a game, and he finished as a front runner for the Heisman Trophy. Johnny Manziel ended up winning the Heisman Trophy that year, and when it was time for the draft, a lot of experts had Geno Smith being the 3rd quarterback taken off the board behind Ryan Nassib and Matt Barkley. The 2013 New York Jets are a pretty forgotten team, to say the least. They finished with an 8-8 record. They didn't really have any superstars in their team. In fact, it was really just Antonio Cromartie, and they're just a historically bad franchise. But they are definitely remembered for one thing, and that's taking Geno Smith in the 2nd round of the—
I don't really remember what the Jets was like back then. He said all they had was Antonio Cromartie. So did Reeves leave to the Patriots at that point?
2013 NFL Draft with the 39th overall pick. This pick would eventually cause some noise around the league because it created a quarterback controversy between Geno Smith and Mark Sanchez. So that was the question for the Jets heading into the season. Do they stick with the vet in Mark Sanchez, or do they move on to the unproven rookie, Geno Smith?
I ain't gonna lie, Mark Sanchez has some solid years.
Mark Sanchez led the New York Jets to the AFC Championship, but lost to the Indianapolis Colts. And then he made it back to the AFC Championship in 2010, but ended up losing to the Colts again.
But fumble.
Sanchez had a pretty good year in 2011, but missed the playoffs. And in 2012, he had the worst year of his career.
That's what
and
it
threw
was.
for 18 interceptions with only 13 touchdowns. Now, I'm from New Jersey, so I remember all of the talk on sports radio in 2013.
So Geno was a backup for
whether
4
Geno
years,
Smith
3,
or
4
Mark
years.
Sanchez was going to win the starting job, and if the Jets were going to be able to stop their franchise from falling apart. Geno Smith handled all of this talk around him surprisingly well, considering he was a rookie and how mean New York sports fan bases can be to their players. He was pretty quiet in interviews and put his head down and worked in the offseason. In week 1 against the Buccaneers, Mark Sanchez went down early in the game.
Remember when Jets had Vic?
And Geno Smith took over and won the game. He finished with a stat line of 256 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. So this was a pretty good start for Geno Smith, and Jets fans were pretty confident in him. But the rest of the year didn't go so well. Geno Smith finished the season with 3,046 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, and 21 interceptions. Going into the 2014 NFL season, the Jets wanted to bring in a veteran who could mentor the struggling and young Geno Smith. So as a result, the Jets signed Michael Vick to a 1-year, $5 million contract, and this created yet another quarterback controversy in New York. Geno Smith ended up winning the starting job, but his numbers really weren't that great. He only won 3 games and finished with 2,525 passing yards, 13 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. In this season, Smith was also the only quarterback in NFL history to record a game with a perfect passer rating and also a game with a 0 passer rating.
Wow.
2015 is where Geno Smith's career really took a turn for the worse. In the summer, a Jets linebacker, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, and Geno Smith would end up getting in a dispute over $600, and the linebacker ended up punching Geno Smith in the jaw. I think he broke his jaw. Fracturing his jaw, putting him out 6 to 10 weeks. And I've never seen a story like this because
that's crazy.
What happens is just really messed up, to be honest, and I think it even ruined Geno Smith's career. After this happened, Jets fans rejoiced and chanted things like luck of the jaw because Geno Smith was out for 6 to 10 weeks and they didn't want him playing quarterback. Geno Smith ended up sitting that entire season and was a backup for the rest of his career until this year. So that punch from that random linebacker was the fall of Geno Smith. But this year, at 32 years old, Geno Smith is back and he's better than ever. Going into week 1 of the season and playing the Denver Broncos, who just acquired Seattle's former franchise quarterback, Russell Wilson, Geno Smith had a lot of pressure on him, to say the least.
I remember that game he played last year. It came down to the end, and I think he fumbled. I forgot what game that was last year. The Russ was out. And, I think he fumbled at the end, but he played good throughout the whole game, if I'm not mistaken. It had Vic Cromartie and Santonio Holmes. I thought I saw Santonio Holmes. Oh, Eric Dicker too. Okay. So they had some big names on the Jets.
This game and beat Russell Wilson. Not only did Geno deliver on this win, but he warned the entire league that he's back in one of the most iconic post-game interviews that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, they wrote me off. I ain't right back though. That's the problem. I ain't right back. Let's go.
From this moment on, Geno Smith has been statistically the most efficient quarterback in the league. He's number 1 out of all quarterbacks in completion percentage. He has 1,305 passing yards, which is 12th in the league, 9 touchdowns, which is 7th in the league, and 2 interceptions, which is tied for 4th in the league. He's playing much better than Russell Wilson did last year in Seattle. And it looks like the Seahawks have been able to open up way more of their playbook so far. They can actually throw to the middle of the field, unlike Russell Wilson, and Geno Smith doesn't try to escape the pocket and take stupid sacks like Russell Wilson always did. I mean, just look at some of these throws. I don't even think Russell Wilson is tall enough to see over the offensive line and hit his open receiver. This throw is just special. On the run, he throws across his body over a defensive back's arm and hits his receiver with perfect timing on the sideline. Just look at the placement on this deep ball. Smith winds up, throws the ball 40 yards downfield, and drops the ball in the bucket and hits Tyler Lockett for a touchdown.
He made some clean throws in that Saints game.
Top 10 quarterback in every single ranking I've seen. To say that he can be Seattle's new franchise QB is a little bit of a reach, but if he keeps playing like this, I think it can definitely happen. I don't think this is a fluke, and I really think Geno is this good. Hopefully Geno can be more than just a bridge quarterback for the Seahawks, because I really think he deserves another shot in the league. But let me know in the comments, do you guys think Geno can be the starting quarterback for the Seahawks for the next few years? Or should they draft a quarterback in one of the upcoming drafts? But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.
Yo, YBH.
That's a good vid. I give him a thumbs up. I subscribe. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts. He said he thinks Geno really that good. So, you know, we'll see. You know, time will tell. We'll see. But y'all let me know your thoughts. Hit the like button, subscribe, stay tuned, stay blessed.